But tying that all into the benefits of wellness and health and stress, all that good stuff. So sign sheets, I'll be passing those out. And make sure you sign in.
How many of you guys were at my talk last year when I came down? A few of you guys? I know it's Cinco de Mayo right now, so I don't know what's in that glass right now. But, trying to stay standing for this whole speech, okay, I promise. So last year what we talked about, I introduced chiropractic to you guys. If you guys remember it, that's cool. If you didn't, that's okay too. But my name's Lance Katana. This time I want to hit a lot more on lifestyle a little bit. Lifestyle and health and stress and how it affects us. Different types of stress as well. So reclaiming control of our health. So in America right now, just kind of in society in general, what the trends that we see with Obamacare and everything, like it's really hard for the American person to really be able to dictate their own health. And a lot of other factors come into play, whether it be stress, whether it be insurance, whether it be a copay. A lot of other things dictate our health, whereas we can't even dictate our own health without having the expensive out-of-pocket or everything else that comes into play. I really just want to live life liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and actually just being a healthy individual. So what we talked about last year was what is health, what is wellness. Does anybody want to spin off on question one, what is health? I'm going to pick someone. Since you guys are the first ones that came in. Right here. What is health?
Being alive.
Being alive? That's pretty good. What is wellness? The name beside you. What is wellness? It's really so a lot. Health and wellness coincide with each other. Like people use health and wellness as usually just two and the same. But the difference between the two, we talked about last year. According to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. That's probably the biggest part right there. Is that just because we're not undergoing pathology, people think disease is, or people think if you're unhealthy, you're sick. Can you be unhealthy and not be sick?
Oh, yes.
What would be an example of that? Well, I don't have a diagnosis, but what about when I'm unhealthy? What would be an example of that? Overweight, high blood pressure, stuff like that. There's a lot of other factors that goes into it. Wellness. Talking about wellness, an integrated method of functioning which is oriented toward maximizing the potential of the individual that is capable of. It requires the individual maintain continuous balance and purposeful direction. So that's really kind of like a deeper question that you ask yourself. Like, am I living a wellness lifestyle? Am I clear up here that's able for me to dictate my life in a purposeful direction, morally, socially, whatever it may be? So those two really go inside of each other. Building the bridge. Health is the state of the body. Wellness is the state of being. That's a really easy way to look at it right there. So last year what we talked about was the big thing I want to get across to you guys, that what controls everything in the body? The nervous system, right? The nervous system is our superhighway. Think of it as I-45. And all of our information is running right there. I-45 is really clumped up a lot. I really like it. That was horrible. I drive from Dallas to Houston, and I-45 is like the worst thing in the world. But it's our superhighway. Messages run from the brain to the corresponding tissue, whether it be an organ, whether it be a muscle, or anything else. Messages are consistently going back and forth, back and forth. So that was the biggest point I wanted to make to you guys last year. I love this picture right here, because do you remember me showing you this picture last year? Would you think that that's our nerves of our body? When we think of a nerve, you get silly. When I was coming to school, you just think of like one going here, one going there. But there's nerves literally running to every part of the body. It's really beautiful, actually. So, how many of you guys have traveled outside the country? What is the biggest difference that you see compared to somewhere else to America? The culture. Who else?
Portion size.
Portion size. What about how the people act? What's the biggest difference? What do you guys see?
More worried about health.
They're more conscious about their health. Would you say that? Whereas I don't know if America is as conscious about our health. We're up and coming, I would say. In the past 5 to 10 years, you see more of There's like a fit menu on there of more of the whole gluten sensation going across America right now. What are some other things? Who else has traveled? Raise your hands again. Who else has traveled outside the country? Nobody else has? Man in the back. What's the biggest difference that you see with people?
They use more vegetables in here.
Okay. Would you guys agree that something that I saw a lot was like everybody else was less stressed? Everything is so much more simple outside of America. In America, we're so high strung. We're so caught up in what am I doing next? What am I doing this? And can I do it? Boom, boom, boom. Whenever I was overseas, it was completely, it's so relaxed. If businesses wanted to take 2 weeks off, they took 2 weeks off. And I asked them, I'm like, how can they do that? And they're like, they make it work. Like, that's just how the culture is here. And I was like, it was a culture shock, obviously as a tourist. So, looking at, if America is the most informed country in the world, we're the most industrialized country in the world, we're the most technologically sound country in the world, we say we're the #1 country in the world, but why are we one of the most unhealthiest countries in the world? Nutrition has a part to play in it, don't get me wrong. Nutrition has a part to play with it. Social behavior, I think, has a little bit bigger role to play with it. Stress. I think America is a lot more stressed. And well, that's what we're going to talk about, how stress has an impact on health. So that's the question I'm going to ask you guys today is, does stress affect health?
Yes.
Yes. How? So we talked about how if it's not pathology, what is it? How does stress affect health? What is stress? May want to roll off on that. Man with the tequila bottle right there. I'm joking.
I'm not stressed now.
She's sitting back. She's like, I'm good now. How does stress affect health? How would you give me an example?
Well, I think you can, your heart rate can go out, up.
Yeah. So high blood pressure. I see Patrick mentally blood pressure raises. What's another example, man? Go over here.
Stress eating.
Stress eating. So you get stressed out. You turn to something that you want to do, right?
Something you shouldn't eat, more than likely. You should comfort food.
Exactly. Or sometimes people are stressed out, so they don't eat.
Oh, that's true.
So people start going through like malnutrition, deficiency, vitamin mineral deficiency is one of the biggest things in the world right now. Well, gas deficiency tonight. So right here, I'm gonna give you guys a little. We're gonna put some neurology in today. This is super cool. So if you look at the blue one up in the corner, the parietal lobe, sensation, language, perception, body awareness, attention. The parietal lobe is where if I feel something and if it's hot, I pull away. Anything I feel, anything I touch, that relays back to me. If I touch something that's hot, can that stress me out? In some scenarios, yes. If you look at the orange one in the back, the occipital lobe right there, that's our vision and perception. If I see something, and this is one of the biggest ones, if I see something, it can stress me out, right? If I look at the green one right there, that's the temporal lobe, hearing. If I hear something, can it stress me out? If it triggers the right way, right? So all those together, right there where it says Wernicke's there, the little yellow one in the corner, in the middle right there. That's part of what we call it the PTO, in the limbic system. The limbic system is our emotion, is our emotional complex of the brain. So where if I smell something, it takes me back to a memory. Have you guys ever seen it? You see somebody and you're like, you remind me of this person from 20 years ago. Or I smell something and I'm like, my grandma used to cook that same thing when I was a kid. So how does that memory stay in there if I see or feel something and it just takes me back instantly? And that's part of our limbic emotional system, part of the brain. If this is probably one of my favorite parts when I was going through neuroscience, my neuro rotations, was the fact that the way that we process a thought or anything that happens in our daily lives, everything processes through the brain, and when it comes to the brain decides, do I have an emotional component with this? Do I need a tag thing to go on a conveyor? Everything we see, feel, hear, do, it comes in and we need to tag it with an emotion: sadness, happiness, anger, pleasure. We tag it, and if we tag it with that, it has more likeliness to stay to go to long-term memory. If we don't, if I just brushed up against you and said sorry, went on my way, 5 years from now, we would never remember that, right? Because there wasn't an emotional attachment to it. But if we really bumped into each other, and it was like, whoa, you know, perception was big right there. The brain would say, boom, surprise, you know, sympathetic right there. It would tag that, and probably 2 years from now, we would remember that, right? So emotion has a huge part to play in just the perception of everything that we do. The people that we talk to, the books we read, the movies we watch, everything processes in the brain. It's either going to build you up or it can tear you down. Everybody can think of a scenario of like people that they listen to music or they live uneducated lives, where they're not building themselves up, and look at the people who they surround themselves with. That's how they're building. That's how they're feeding their brain right there. So everything that happens in the PTO goes to the big pink area right there, the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is where we act from. Everything gets processed in the PTO, the back part of the brain right there, and everything, once that we tag it with emotion, then we act on it. The frontal lobe is action. The frontal lobe is where I say, okay, the brain's tagged this emotion, now let's act on it. If I'm reading a book and it's educational, now I'm going to conscious thought and act on it. I'm going to use that information I use for good. The frontal lobe is where I act through, either for good or for evil. So the processing of the brain it's an amazing thing. That's more of a little simple picture. You see the limbic lobe right there. This that purple area right there. That's where our emotional complex is. I just want to throw this in for you guys. This is out of my neuro notes, my neuroscience notes. I'm horrible. I'm left-handed. I have horrible handwriting. But this is something really cool though right here, because we talked about what actually is stress, and we talked about how it can affect blood pressure, right? We can actually kind of measure stress with cortisol. How many of you have ever heard like my cortisol levels are high? I'm really stressed, right? Cortisol has a part to play with our stress component right there. So when we're stressed, if the limbic system, if our emotions take over our frontal cortex, our frontal lobe controls our emotions. It's where we say if we process all these thoughts, and then we're able to control our emotions and do rational things. But when you start seeing people do irrational things, they're like, I don't know why that person would do that. Why are they acting like that? Like they know not to act like that. Their frontal lobe is no longer in control of their emotions. The limbic system takes over, and then it has a trickle-down physiological effect. The pituitary gland. The pituitary gland spits out a hormone. It goes down to the adrenal gland. It's a huge physiological process. After that, that's when, have you ever heard of like the adrenals? The adrenaline. Once we start depleting our adrenaline, that's when we can actually take a blood test to see our epinephrine levels, and we can kind of see where they are in the slope. And when you see fibromyalgia, when adrenaline is super, super high, muscle, like you have like 12 sore spots on your body, you can't explain why. A lot of it can be because of stress. But when you tank your adrenals, when your gas tank's out and you have nothing else to run on, because you've been in this state of stress for so long, that's when we start seeing adrenal fatigue. Right there, adrenal fatigue. That's when cortisol levels are highest. Epinephrine levels tank. Cortisol levels are the highest in adrenal fatigue, and that's where we see sleep deprivation. Sometimes I feel like I'm in adrenal fatigue at the end of finals. But one of the coolest parts about the brain is that obviously what we've talked about is that it controls and regulates everything in our entire body, right? But it's only 2% of the mass of the entire body. So to answer the age-old question, no, size doesn't matter. This is my next question for you guys. Does stress affect posture? How? Give me an example. Ma'am, with the tassel around your neck. How does stress affect posture?
Usually slump down.
Slump down.
Or weighted down.
You're weighted down. How, if you're not stressed, how would that affect your posture? How does happiness affect posture? The psychology of posture is something really amazing, actually. There's a lot of studies, a lot of books that have been written on it. So you see people that are slumped down, right? They're back into this flexion state right here, like everything's being beat down on them. They're shut down. If you're stressed, you shut down, right? You shut down mentally, you shut down emotionally. You can just shut off to people. And they're like, hey, I'm sorry, like, I'm just stressed out today, okay? I can't really talk. How many of you guys have ever been a part of that? Yeah, especially working. But, so if you see someone that's really beat down right here, they're here, right? this is the posture of anger. This is the posture of stress. What is happiness? What is excitement? We open up, right? We're like, hallelujah, praise God, oh my God, like this happened, right? So the more in extension we are, we're born into flexion as a fetus, right? And then we grow into extension. As a baby is developing their spine, the most important part of the baby's life is tummy time. Give the baby tummy time to allow them to lift their head up, to allow them to activate their extensor muscles, and they start developing a cervical curve right there. So, like a lot of people, like, if they lay the baby on the back for a lot of time, if they cry on their stomach, well, let them cry on their stomach for a little bit. The tummy time is huge in the development of a child's life. So there's just different ways that stress can affect posture, right? Beating down happiness, excitement, joy, etc. So this is one example right here. Good on the left. That's the cervical curve I'm talking about right here. We want a backwards curve to where they're opened up right here. How many of you guys have kids that play sports or have played sports before in your own lives? So how many of you guys have been told, if you're tired, if you're not getting enough oxygen, if you're running out of breath, put your hands on your head, it'll open up the lungs. Coaches don't know what the hell they're talking about. In a way, it doesn't open up the lungs. It doesn't do anything about that. But what happens when I put my hands on my head? It extends me back, therefore it opens up my trachea, therefore I get more oxygen, right? I get more oxygen intake. If I get more oxygen intake, my hemoglobin levels are rising. I get more oxygen to the brain, I get more oxygen to the heart, I get more oxygen to the blood, etc. So everybody put their head down and look at their toes and take a big deep breath. So now put your head back and take an even bigger breath. Could you take a bigger breath with your head extended or with your head in flexion? Extended, right? So this is one of the concepts that I like to focus around, is the cervical curve. The cervical curve can dictate a lot of different things. If you're going through hypoxia, there's a whole pathological cascade that can go down. That's low oxygen levels. If we start increasing oxygen levels, it affects the entire body in different ways. What's funny, so you look at the pictures on the left, right, on the right here. We have a lack of cervical curve, right? The spine was made, God made the spine so we could take load on. So it outputs, the whole spine can work together so we can stand here. If it was straight up and down, if the spine was just straight up and down, we'd be blowing out discs left and right because gravity would just push straight down. By being in the curve, we can therefore take stresses, we can move, we can be dynamic. So you can see the lines right here that were drawn. And actually, we're going past just like the structure. And on the MRI scan on the right here, you can actually see the cords being cut off a little bit right there. And that's a huge portion right there. Around the fifth cervical right there, huge portion, huge portion. That's where the nerves come out for our arms and hands. People start going through radicular symptoms, tingling, numbness, tingling in the hands right there. Huge. So what's funny about this one, the picture on the left, that's mine. That's my x-ray right there. I've been under chiropractic care for 4 to 5 years now. I got curves like Beyonce. I'm proud of my x-rays. Anybody wants to throw their x-rays, I'm like, mine will be good. See, that's what we want to do, though. We want to produce that. We want to give people curves like Beyonce. Patrick's never going to have curves like Beyonce, but he can have spinal curves. So when we start talking about motion, if the joint is in motion, if we're clear, if our alignment's good, we have motion, therefore we have a clear neural pathway, right? This is another one right here. How many of you guys, you see the hammer on the patella right there? How many of you guys have ever had that done to you at the doctor's office? Well, what the hell does it do? Have everybody ever thought of that? It's to kick the doctor, right? Like, yeah, let me get out of here. So, but it's a reflex, right? So what's the point of a reflex? Nerves? We want to see if it's a clear pathway. We want to see if the neuron is traveling from the receptor up the nerve, up to the spinal cord, up to the brain, back down the spinal cord, down the spinal nerve, and then back into the receptor to give you an action to fire. That's what a reflex is. And this is only, we go to the doctor's office and they do this, but it's only for 2 segments. That's it. L2 through L4. 2 segments. So like, how many other vertebrae do we have in the back? Why are we doing only L2 through L4? Like that never made sense to me. But in chiropractic school, we learn a complete neurological examination. We can do reflexes for every single vertebrae in the neck, every single vertebrae in the lumbar. Medical doctors learn to do it too, but it never made sense to me why we only do just L2 through L4. Because L5 is your most common, like, degenerative one. So we can do the hands, we can do everything. But what we can't do is for the visceral, our organs. We can't do a reflex with the organs, right? I can't. We have what controls the organs? What we talked about earlier, the nervous system. I can't do a reflex with the organs. I can't do a reflex with the liver, the pancreas. So how do I know if I have a clear neural pathway going back and forth to let my organs operate at an optimum potential, right? So that's where the chiropractor steps in. We go through a full functional movement screening. We check for restrictions in the back right there and everywhere else. But for the organs specifically, we can go in and check. We can't do a reflex on them, so we go make sure it's a clear motion. If I don't have a motion, therefore I have fixation. If I have fixation, I'm putting more stress on the joint above and the joint below, and it's going to be higher odds of either degeneration or anything else. It could put tension on the cord. It could put slack on the cord. A lot of different things. But that's one thing right there that I thought you guys would like maybe. So we're going to talk about the motion of the joint. Dr. John Ratty, he's an MD, he's a professor at Harvard Med, and he's done a lot of study on motion of the joints. He has shown research that proves healthy functional movement patterns in our spinal joints and exercise turns on our brain and conditions them for learning. He did a huge study on is it possible to become cognitively superior? Is it possible to become smarter by increased motion? How many of you guys have ever heard, go exercise, it'll decrease your stress? You guys ever heard that? Like, you need to go do something, go move, it'll decrease your stress. Why is that? You can kind of see where functional movement, every time you get adjusted, it lights up the brain like a light bulb. It's functional movement, right? We're putting motion back in the joint. If you don't have you guys ever heard motion is lotion? If you don't move it, you lose it. Exactly, right? The same thing. That's chiropractic in a nutshell, really. So he talked about, I call exercise miracle growth for the brain. Exercise keeps brain cells healthy in a way that playing chess and other highly cognitive activities do not. Reading, writing, all of that lights up the brain. It really does. But functional movement, that lights up the brain on a different level. And it can actually improve, like test-taking skills. People say, go for a walk before you go take a test. Do a little workout before you go take a test. They did a scan of the brain before, like somebody that took a test, just cold turkey, got up and took their test. Someone that went and exercised and then took their test, and the brain was lit up like a light bulb. It was their cognitive function was going. There's a lot of cool studies on that. So when we have this absence of motion, this is what we talk about. We're just throwing medical terminology on it. It's called dyskinesia, abnormal motion of the joint. We want the joint to be going in every single direction so it can be functional. It lights up the brain. The neural pathway, the highway, has a clear path to go inside and out. Dyskinesia over time can lead to disafferentation, abnormal communication from the brain. That's if we have abnormal joint motion. Therefore, the highway is going to start cracking up a little bit. It's not going to be as smooth of a pathway, right? So what a chiropractor bases all of what I do, all of what we do, is called a subluxation. That's what we do. We remove subluxation. That's a fixated joint, or anything that interferes with the nervous system right there. So when we talk about disafferentation and dyskinesia, could you say, look at the bone density on my curve. Look at the bone density on this one right here. A lot lower, right? We can see how dark it is right there. You can start interpreting x-rays. That's how you kind of look at that. But look at the bone density right there. Like, I got pretty strong bones. But this one right here, this is what we want to stay clear of right here, is that decreased bone density. That leads into osteoporosis. Decreased bone density, osteopenia. And then, if I go down, this is a subluxated model right here. It's not, it can be nerve interference by putting pressure on a nerve, but it can also be putting tension on a nerve. Anything that interferes with that clear pathway. So now let's look at this. This is a friend of mine. She sent me a Snapchat, and she has scoliosis right there. You guys may know some people that have scoliosis. And she also has a fusion right there in her lower thoracic. But her signs and symptoms, abnormal digestion and asthma. Why would they have that? Those nerves right there that come out where that curve is, right in the fixation right there, or on the fusion, what do those nerves innervate? Digestion, the GI tract, small intestine, colon, ileum, cecum, lungs, up here. And this is what she goes through every day. Is it possible that, is it fair to say that, according to research base, she's going through disafferentation, dyskinesia? She's self-examining. It's crazy the way the body adapts, though. But that's something that we like to steer clear. That's when we start talking about chiropractic on more of a healthcare standard. People say, I go to the chiropractor for pain. I go to the chiropractor, just when I'm hurting. Now we're talking about chiropractic on a healthcare level. Do chiropractic treat symptoms? No, we don't treat symptoms. If you're treating the symptoms of asthma, I give you an inhaler. But if we fix the cause of asthma, and this is what a lot of chiropractors that I know, how they came into chiropractic school, like what made them want to be a chiropractor. I know a few of them that actually wanted to go into it because they were clear of asthma after so many treatments, because their brain could communicate with their lungs on an optimal level that allowed them to, not go through a pathology such as asthma. Digestive system is a huge thing, right? So this is something that you guys see a lot in probably every chiropractor or any doctor, any physician's office right there is the one on the right. Autonomic nervous system right there. Everything in the body is controlled by the nervous system. It has a nerve that goes to it. The nerves are encased in the spinal column right there. That's where the source of the ball is, the spinal cord. The atlas up here at the top of your neck, that's where the brainstem is turning into the spinal cord itself. Every joint has a huge important role to play. And what the simplest way to talk about it is, are you connected or are you disconnected? That's chiropractic in a nutshell right there. If you don't move it, you... Exactly. Are you connected or are you disconnected? Are you living in ease or are you living in dis-ease? So this is when we come in. I like this picture because it kind of gives you like a little transparent look. Chiropractic is a natural form of healthcare that uses specific adjustments to correct spinal misalignments in order to restore proper and balanced function of the nervous system in order for all systems of the body to operate at their maximum potential. And when I start practicing, I start clinic in August, and I'll be in clinic for a year, and then I graduate. But do I treat pain? No. I can get rid of pain really easy, but I don't treat pain. I want to see expression. I want to see your nervous system functioning. If you're under regular chiropractic care for life, I get checked for a subluxation once a week. Do I always get adjusted? No, but I always get checked for a subluxation. I haven't been sick in 5 years. There's a doctor up in the Woodlands right now, in north of Houston. You guys know where that's at? Dr. Chris Zano. He's former Mr. America. He's current Mr. Universe right now. He's 42 years old. He's still bodybuilding. And he's been a chiropractor for 15 years. And I think over 15 years. But when he was first competing, he went through, he ended up getting diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. He lost 60 pounds in 2 months, I believe, and he couldn't keep the weight on. There's blood in his stool. He went to every physician in the nation as far as a specialist for ulcerative colitis, and he was about to get his colon taken out. He was on like 4 to 6 different prescriptions and everything like that, and somebody finally said, why don't you go see my chiropractor? So that same action that I just showed you guys up here, where my friend's experiencing digestive issues, he had a similar curve in his lower thoracics right there. He went through 7 months of chiropractic treatment, and he was medication free. He was able to put on weight. There was no more blood in his stool. And he got back to bodybuilding, and now he's current Mr. Universe. He's a chiropractor in one of the biggest clinics in America up in the Woodlands. If you guys are ever up there, go check it out. But that's another cool chiropractic story right there. So once again, we're talking about chiropractic focuses on the relationship of body structure and function and how that relationship affects with the restoration and preservation of health. Not treating pain, not treating the symptoms of pain. Are we good at it? Yes, we're very good at it. But health is one. Health, that's what life's about right there. That's why chiropractic is part of healthcare. When health is the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. When I told you that, that's the most important part. Just because you're not experiencing disease, does that mean you can't go and get checked for a subluxation so we can look at your future health? That's where chiropractic starts cutting in on. It cuts your medical bills in half. It starts cutting your outpatient visits in half to your medical provider. That's because your body's functioning at an optimal level. When you stack nutrition on that, and what Patrick offers is functional movement. He does a nutritional screening too. But when you start adding functional movement on top of getting adjusted and nutrition, the sky's the limit with your healthcare. You don't have to worry about those outpatient visits anymore because you're living your life in a health and wellness manner. So, can you guys relate to this right here? Remember the big breath? So you guys elaborate. I think this is one of y'all's extras that I took right there. So how many of you guys remember the big breath that we took right there? When our head's down right there? So what the oxygen intake levels that you guys are receiving just working in everyday life? Okay, it kind of makes you think a little bit, like what am I, how am I experiencing life right now? What am I functioning? And this is really cool. This is something I'll have in my office. Chiropractic in the tech age right now. There's so much technology coming out in chiropractic, and right here it's a scanner that will scan your spine, and it'll actually give us a blueprint of what your nervous system's functioning in. We can actually look at every spinal level and kind of look at the output right there, where the muscles and the paraspinal muscles are at, and let's see a blueprint of what's going on. And this is a before and after scan right here, after a treatment plan. And I mean, I've seen a lot of chiropractors do this, and like with babies, with athletes, with just regular people like you and me, and they're experiencing health after this. Those clear scans, they're functioning at a high optimal potential. It's electromyography, and we'll do a heart rate vulnerability test as well. So I gave you this side last year, but the chiropractic is all about expression. It's all about expression of the nervous system. And one thing I want to ask you guys, just think to yourself, how are you expressing? How many bars do you got right now, LTE? How many bars? Are you got 3G or you got LTE? This is one of my favorite memes right here. And people ask, I come across this a lot, and chiropractic isn't for you. Tell me when you don't have a nervous system, we'll talk. But this is a really fun one. I come across a lot of people, and they're like, no, chiropractic's not for me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't force it upon anyone. And a lot of people, I wish I could do this talk a lot more with a lot of different companies, because a lot of people just need to hear the message of like, you are in control of your health. Don't let sickness and disease and the social norm and the status quo of America and the world right now dictate your life. You are in control of your health every step of the way. And that's what chiropractic can step in. I gave you guys this slide last year. I love this one. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame and diet in the case of prevention of disease. That's Thomas Edison. This year I want to give you guys this one. Dr. Roger Sperry, 1981, Nobel Prize winner for brain research. 90% of stimulation and nutrition to the brain is generated by movement of the spine. What we were talking about with Dr. John Ratty earlier from Harvard. Functional movement lights up the brain, right? They were figuring this out in 1981. Everything I want to give you guys, there's a lot of things out there with chiropractic, a lot of crazy things out there. But everything I want to give you guys is scientifically backed. It's research-based. Everything I want to give you guys, nothing's weird, nothing's crazy about it. I hope you guys take something out of this. I'm sorry, the Galveston people got me, the fourth be with you. But you guys need to get a hold of this lady right here. I don't know what's in that bottle, but you guys need to get this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Did you guys like today? Did you guys learn something? Cool. Thank you so much. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, get a hold of me on email. If you guys have any questions, I'll be down here for a little bit afterwards. Follow my story. Thank you guys. God bless.
All right, don't forget to sign in if you have not yet.